What's up, guys? Rob from Japanese Gaming here, bringing you another piece of Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl content. And what we're going to be doing in this episode of Rob Doesn't Know What an Episode Is, I'm just going to be giving you kind of my thoughts on the game, having actually played it now at this point. I've got roughly about 46-ish hours on the game to this point, and if you hear any clickety clacketing, I'm just doing some arcade mode stuff in the game, so hopefully you guys won't actually hear that. But yeah, you know, as you guys could probably tell from the channel when the game was announced and when all the reveals were happening, you know, I was actually quite hyped for the game. I was very excited about the prospects of what this game has to offer and stuff along that line. So you know, now having actually played the game, what do I think about it? And I still think it's a really good game. You know, I know a lot of people that have bought it have said that it's not as good as other games or whatever the case is, and it's janky and it's hollow and stuff. So I'm gonna just try to give you kind of like my honest opinion of the game, and we'll start with the details of the game, right? So yes, to a certain extent there are some things that would polish the game up that are missing. You know, there's no voice acting, there's not that many different clips or voice clips that are used for sound effects. The sound effects can get kind of repetitive after a while, so that's certainly something that's missing. I will say the stage themes, though, the stage themes are pretty good overall. I would say they actually have some banging tunes for the stage themes in this game, so it does have that going for it. But overall, the sound design, it's certainly lacking for sure, and you know, that's just part of the polish that comes along with a game like this, on the budget that, you know, Ludosity had to make the game in the first place. The other kind of polish, I guess, that's missing is some of the animations are a little janky. You know, there's not a lot of, some of them have some not so smooth animation, and a lot of people say that the game looks jank. And I can kind of see that, but I honestly don't think this game looks that much jankier than some other games on the market that have bigger followings. And I mean, it's not obviously as smooth as a game like Smash is, but I don't think it's something that's so bad that it is a serious negative that kind of needs to be taken into account. I think if you care about how your games look that much, like if graphics are the #1 thing that appeals to you in a video game, then certainly you might have some problems with some of the more jankier ways that some of the moves in Nick All-Stars Brawl look. Maybe you'll see some of those in the background. In the background, I'm playing just various clips I've gotten off of ranked matches on Nick All-Stars. So yeah, there's certainly some polish that's missing from the game, but overall I think the in-depth mechanics more than make up for that. So I think part of the reason why this game might look kind of janky with a lot of the animations is just because the game itself is so fast. Almost all moves can cancel into each other if you can string them properly, you know. Especially dash attacks sometimes can seem like they're just missing frames at the end because they auto cancel when you get a hit, so you can buffer an input when you hit with a dash attack, and it might look like all of a sudden another move just comes out of nowhere. But you know, and then the air dashing, the speed in the air dashes are just so fast, especially the downwards air dashes, you know, being used for movement tech and stuff like that, to reset jumps. And the wave dashing is also just so fast that I can see why, if you're not used to games that look this fast, you might see it as just overwhelming. But as somebody who came from the community of somebody who really enjoys watching Smash, and specifically who really enjoys watching Melee, I appreciate the speed of the game. I think it's one of the things that makes it really cool. You know, if they came out with a game that's, say, kind of on the speed level of Ultimate, right? There would be almost no reason for you to play Nick All-Stars Brawl, because if it was as Ultimate's not necessarily a slow game, but it's certainly slower than Nick All-Stars Brawl. If Brawl was as slow, we'll say, as Ultimate, there'd be basically no reason for you to play All-Stars Brawl, because, well, not no reason, but there wouldn't be much of a reason, because Ultimate's a more polished game with more characters from a bigger studio, right? But I just think the speed and the raw speed that this game brings, and the tech and the movement tech and the options that this game has are what make it worth playing. So the mechanics of this game, I think, are really what set this game apart from other platform fighters. You know, obviously the IPs are definitely part of the reason which drew me in personally. I was a huge Nickelodeon fan growing up as a kid. I loved watching SpongeBob. It's probably my favorite show of all time. Ironically, I ended up maining Lucy Loud, so kind of ironic that I ended up maining a character from a show that I've never watched, but I dropped SpongeBob from my character rotation because, quite honestly, I'm just not fast enough on the movement for SpongeBob. Like, I can't do the spobbles and a walking on the beach combo. It's like, I would have to grind for that for sure. So I ended up maining Lucy Loud, and my secondary is Reptar, but I did watch my fair bit of Rugrats growing up, so I got that Reptar influence. But you know, if you're interested in fast-paced fighting games, certainly Nick All-Stars Brawl, I think, offers a little bit more in the speed department than a game like Ultimate does. I even think this game is faster than Melee, but that's only just because the movement tech is so crazy. You know, like, you can do the downwards air dashes from further up than in Melee, where you need to do the, you know, the frame perfect wave dashes. And along with having a buffer system, you can buffer moves a little bit smoother and kind of string them into each other. So it's definitely got that going for it. And I think above all, this game is just fun. You know, certainly to a certain extent, it's lacking a little bit of content. You know, it doesn't have items. It doesn't have like final smashes or anything like that. It does have some really cool mini games built in, though. The sports mini games. Me and my friends actually love playing the sports mini games. They're janky and dumb, but they're a lot of fun, especially when you get 4 people on a stage with just the amount of chaos that goes on with some of those sports games. Those can be a lot of fun for sure. But I just think overall, you know, it's a fun game. It really is, you know. And the big thing that stands out to me above all else is that the developers care so much about the community that this game has. You know, not to kind of beat the dead horse, but I mean, I think everyone kind of understands the idea to this point that Nintendo doesn't really care about they don't care about the competitive scene at all. You know, they don't really care about their players all that much, and they don't really care about their fans all that much. All they see them as is money signs. But, you know, Ludosity and Game Mill Entertainment have really gone out of their way to make this community feel welcome. You know, the developers are active in the community. They're in the official Discord. They're chatting all the time. They're talking to people. You know, they're commentating tournaments. You know, they donated that giant prize pool pot to SmashCon so that the Nickelodeon Brawl would have a big prize pool. You know, they care, and I think that's the important thing. Is I would rather play a game that's maybe slightly lacking polish, maybe slightly lacking a little bit of content, but I mean, realistically speaking, let's be honest here, does anybody in Smash really, who plays Smash more than casually, care about items or care about mini games? Except for the rare occasion when you're playing with friends, or if you're just kind of goofing off. Not really. The core gameplay is what you're after, you know, that 1v1 competitive kind of gameplay. So I would say, you know, Smash has All-Stars Brawl beat, even though this isn't like a direct comparison, it's just All-Stars Brawl on its own. You know, casually, it's a fun game, but it is certainly lacking a little bit of content. Hopefully, what's going to happen, though, is as the developers have more time with the game, you know, they have gone out and said that they want to add voice acting, they want to add alternate costumes, they want to add they're already planning and have DLC in the works for 2 new characters and 2 new stages, one of which has been leaked and is rumored to be a legal stage, so we'll have even more legal stages for tournament play and competitive play. You know, I'd rather play a game from a company like Ludosity who cares and support them as the game grows and, you know, more and more content is added, rather than play a game from a company who doesn't necessarily care about anybody except for the money that they can offer. So casually, you know, if you're not really into the 1v1 competitive fighting scene, you know, you might actually find this game kind of lacking. You know, there's the quote-unquote campaign, you know, is essentially just a series of matches. You know, it's a series of fights, 1v1 fights. And the mini games, the sports games are fun, but you're not really going to find as much enjoyment out of this game casually as I think you would if you're playing kind of the more quote-unquote competitive side of it. You know, those 1v1 matches in online matchmaking. But, you know, if you're on the fence at all about this game, I would say I have a lot of fun with it. I think it's a really, really fun game. If you liked Melee, if you like the speed of that game, definitely give this game a look. It's worth the price, in my opinion, because when you're paying that money, you can think of it as an investment in Ludosity going forward, who is a game company with people like Thaddeus Crew who absolutely love his community and are doing whatever he possibly can to make this community better and make the game better. You know, you can almost think of it as an investment, essentially, in a game company who is trying to make the best possible community for not only just casual fans but the competitive scene as well, and they're going out of their way to support that. So yeah, those are just kind of my thoughts. You know, now that we've had the game for a little bit, I have about 46.5 hours or so on the game. You know, I've started to look into playing in tournaments. I played in one so far. I went 0-2 and I sucked and didn't take a single game. I got bodied up, so definitely got some grinding to do. But you know, I'm invested in this game. I think it's a lot of fun, and you know, I would say check it out if you want to wait for a sale. You know, this game is, maybe if you don't think it's worth the price tag it is now, then wait for it to go on sale. But you know, if you're looking for another game to kind of put into that repertoire of fighting games, I certainly think that Nick All-Stars Brawl is more than worthy. You know, out of 10, what would I give it right now? I would say I would give it a strong 8. It is lacking a little bit of polish. The netcode could use a little bit of polish. You know, the voice acting and stuff like that, and there are some balancing things that I think need to be implemented, but it's a lot of fun, so certainly worth a look. So yeah, look forward to more Nick All-Stars Brawl content in the future. If I start getting some tournament W's, maybe I'll post some actual competitive gameplay. But yeah, so I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys again next time.